Hello, welcome back to Backyard Catch. This is Nick Roby with our good friend, once again, Mr. William Harper. Will, how's it going on this fine day in September?
It is hot outside still. We live in the South. So technically, I guess next week is fall, the
I was
23rd.
just I was just looking at that. It's officially fall next week and it's still 99 degrees outside.
Yes. And it's not a dry 99, it's a humid 99. All right,
Yeah.
maybe not 99, but it was legit 92 today. And
It
I
was
sweated walking to my car after work. So
yeah.
that's my current status. But currently in the AC in my house, so I'm feeling great.
Yeah. Yeah, gotta love the AC because when that goes out, you definitely notice it. It's like your car. So yeah, it was a good week. It was a fun week of football. You know that it's back and we get to talk about it. What what really stood out to you from this past weekend in the world of the NFL?
Unfortunately, it's my Panthers.
Yeah,
Started off the weekend rough on Thursday, but after that, what stood out to me the most, something that's also not really fun to talk about, it was that Patriots shellacking of the Dolphins. That was the game that was on in my area on Sunday at 1. So that's
yeah,
the game that I watched, well, kind of watched. But just to see New England just come out and just torch, just set Miami on fire. I mean, it was something to see. Antonio Brown, we didn't know. Well, first we didn't know, is he going to play? Is he not? He ends up playing, and then he comes out and he scores a touchdown, and he's featured by Brady at the expense of Edelman a little bit. I think he had his lowest target share that he's had in a while.
yeah,
But I'm sure that'll change because with the Patriots, they change their targets and yards and philosophy between run and pass from week to week. So who really knows what it's like going forward? But yeah, just to see that total domination, and we know Miami's bad. We knew they would be bad. I don't think we knew they would be this bad. This is really, really, really bad.
yeah. And they just made another trade too, where they traded Minka Fitzpatrick. So just
Yeah, he
another.
was he was their top draft pick only like what 2 years ago.
Yeah,
He
I
was
don't.
like number 11 overall draft pick. So there. Apparently, if you want out of Miami, they'll get you out of there.
Yeah, I don't know. That's where you start to wonder if we need to just have like the Premier League in soccer in England, where you just kind of demote a couple teams and then bring some other teams up. You know?
Yeah, we're gonna bring up the XFL teams.
Yeah, just bring up the XFL teams. You know?
uh, hey, not a bad idea.
I don't know,
See
just
how it works.
something. I don't know. 43 nothing's a shellacking. I was loving. I felt a little bit of a gamble playing Antonio this week because I've been all over the place. My emotions with him have been everything and in between. And so the fact that he had like 4 receptions, 56 yards, and a touchdown, I'll take it. You know, some points on the board, and it worked out for me. So we'll see.
It did. It worked out well. Antonio, I mean, he looked like his normal self.
Yeah,
He looked like the best player on the field
yeah.
yet
Also,
again.
side question though, where did number 17 come through? I thought he was always going to be 84. Is that like something that does someone already have that number slash
Yes.
like?
So Ben Watson has 84,
Okay,
and usually in the NFL, and I guess all sports really, if a player wants a number, they can pretty much essentially buy it from another guy. Um, they can buy like actually monetary or buy them a car or steak or I don't know, all kind of stuff. But the reason why this didn't happen that we know of is because Ben Watts is currently suspended, and in the NFL, you cannot have contact with any suspended players. So Antonio literally could not reach out to Ben Watson for any compensation. So he settled on 17 because that was his dad's number
okay,
when his dad played. I think he played. Did he play in the CFL? Maybe I know his name was Eddie Brown, but he was he was a top notch receiver in either the CFL or the Arena Football League or something. But yeah, that was his
Okay.
dad's number, so that's why he settled on 17.
Okay. That makes sense. It was just really random to me. That makes more sense. I just wasn't as up to
Hmm.
date on that. He could have also gone the reverse number, like little Randy Moss from 81 to 18. He could have been 48. So he missed the opportunity. You get to see 48
uh,
outside.
yeah, I don't think they'll allow that, but
Probably not. But
nice thought.
yeah, we can always dream. Um, yeah, that was the Thursday night game. That was a tough one. But I think a big one too was just that was interesting. Just noticing like with the Lions beating the Chargers at home,
Yeah,
just seeing that the way that they kind of held off Philip Rivers and those guys and all those weapons, only holding them to 10 points. That's pretty impressive for a Lions defense. And granted, they only scored 13 themselves, but still, like the Chargers are a big offense, and I wonder if that's one of those games where you kind of miss. I guess Eckler's still playing well. I wonder if that's where you miss like a guy like a Melvin Gordon to kind of get some reliability from.
right. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but Detroit, they're not looking bad actually. I was expecting kind of a worst possible season for them, but so far they're 1-0-1 with that random tie with the Cardinals last week. But
Yeah,
yeah, they haven't lost yet, so looking up.
yeah,
Side note on the Lions is that C.J. Anderson was cut earlier today, and they
yeah.
signed Paul Perkins. So you may be asking, why does that matter? It matters because of Kerryon Johnson. Kerryon is now the goal line back. Because Paul Perkins, let's be honest, he's not scary in the least. So they're pretty much turning over the backfield solely to Kerryon. They trust him and they're ready to rock with him. And I'm ready to rock with him in my fantasy lineup. So let's go.
There you go. Let's go. Yeah, he had a crazy play though where he shifted like against three or four defenders. It was like a 15-yard gain, but it was the most jukes I might have seen in a while for a 15-yard gain, and
Oh
just
yeah,
like
he's
crazy,
he's
crazy
got the
moves.
jitters. He's got the
Hmm.
shakes.
He does.
Another
Uh,
game I want to mention real quick, and I actually don't want to talk about the game at all. I just want to talk about the pregame. Did you see the Tennessee Titans field on fire in the Tennessee Indy game?
no, I did not see
You
that.
did not. Oh, okay. They had a pyro mishap before the game, and part of the field was on fire,
Hmm.
which could be very symbolic. They lost 19-17. Oh, excuse me, 19-17. But I don't know. We'll see. Now it would make more sense for the Panthers field to be on fire, but
Yeah.
I guess we can't have every storyline line up perfectly.
No, you can't. But it's still early. You never know. You know. But
Right.
now the crazy thing is though, I feel like there's been a bunch of major injuries, or like at least quarterback wise, it's been kind of interesting. Because you've got just thinking about the division, you got Drew Brees is out for at least 6 weeks with his thumb injury. You've
Right.
got Ben Roethlisberger out for the whole season on elbow surgery, which that sounds fun. And
Yeah, and
then
I saw today too. He's like 36, 37 years old. So
yeah,
if he
is
has to
that
have Tommy John surgery, that's a 12-month rehab. Have we seen the end of Big Ben?
yeah, if that's Tommy John, he would be out until like this time even next year, and even then it would probably take some more time to even just get back to football playing shape. So he might be missing out on next year too. So you're right. Like, is that it? It doesn't look great for him. And then of course you got Sam Darnold with mono. He's still out. So there's just been some interesting, um, just different injuries. I feel like that will shake out in this. What do you feel like is a bigger hit for their team, just quarterback wise, in this stretch? Do you think it's bigger that that Breeze is out for the Saints, or that Roethlisberger's out for the Steelers?
Based on the way that the teams played out of the first 2 weeks, prior to injury and during injury, it's got to be Breeze. Because the Saints, I think everyone would say that the Saints are probably a top 2 to 3 type team in the NFC. They're right up there with the Rams, maybe for the top spot, at least coming into the season. And the offense just looked bad with Bridgewater. So we don't know how much ground they could potentially lose over these next 6 weeks. With Pittsburgh, of course, they get smoked by New England last week. But still losing this week, too, to Seattle. I mean, they're 0-2, and they just don't really look good at all. Even with Ben, they didn't look too good. So I'd say the more painful loss for their team has got to be Breeze, just because their aspirations are higher and they could potentially go further.
Right. Yeah, they could potentially go further. I do feel like they probably have a little bit of a better backup with Hill versus like Landry Jones, but yeah, that does pretty hurt. I'm just looking at the Steelers. Their next 2 weeks, they play at the 49ers. 49ers are 2-0, but it's a winnable game. And then they host the Bengals, which you would think they win that one. And then they host the Ravens. And then they have the Chargers. So, yeah, for them, they really do have to keep winning out for them to want a chance in the division. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Saints will be playing Bridgewater, and they'll probably sprinkle in a little bit of Taysom Hill. Who knows?
That's
that
right,
guy
yeah.
plays like tight end, running back, receiver, quarterback. He plays everything. And then
That's right. They have Bridgewater, yeah.
The Steelers actually traded Josh Dobbs to the Jaguars last week, and he was their backup.
Right.
So they have Mason Rudolph is now their quarterback.
Is it Rudolph now? Okay.
Product of Rock Hill, where I live at.
Yeah.
Football City, USA. Yeah, and what's interesting about that is that James Washington was his teammate at Oklahoma State, and James Washington is in line to be their number 2 type receiver, which may end up being their number 1 type receiver. So I'm interested to see what happens with Juju, and if he'll kind of go back to his role that he was last year and kind of be the slot guy, or if they want him to be kind of the main guy again. I don't know. That'll be very interesting to see. You had mentioned Landry Jones. Did you know that Landry Jones is currently the only player signed to an XFL contract?
Oh, yes, now that you're mentioning that, I do remember that. He just, in my mind, he's associated with the Steelers for like forever.
Oh, yeah. He was their backup for like, what, 5 or 6 years?
Yeah, so in my mind, he's just always there ready to go. But no, you're right, of course. Yeah, he is with the XFL. That'll be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
No, so
I'm actually excited about that.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, it'll be good for him to get some playing time as the starter somewhere. So what I'm hearing, Will, is that say you've got somebody who has a fantasy team and they've got James Washington on their team, and maybe even like in a bigger league, you might have him as like a red shirt, like taxi squad. So if he's really going to be like the number 2, even possibly number 1, you would suggest taking him out of the taxi squad. Maybe and just
I see what you're doing.
Having him just having him available. I'm not asking for myself. I'm asking for just in case somebody had that situation, a guy like a James Washington. You feel like he could play.
Gotcha. Well, what I would do is I would leave him my taxi squad for now until he proves it.
Okay.
Once he proves it, if he comes out and hauls in 2 touchdowns, 130 yards, I start thinking about it. He comes out again the next week and has 80 yards and a touchdown. He's in my lineup the next week. So with those taxi squads, like it's a free, pretty much like a red shirt. So I don't want to waste that and then waste that spot that someone else could be in if you don't have to. Yeah. But if you need somebody to play and he's balling out, I mean, go for it.
There you go. Okay, I'll let my friend know. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting with those how that kind of plays out. Let's see. Ooh, we've got the Saints and the Jaguars play next. Oh, that's kind of No, further down. Never mind. I'm looking at the schedule wrong. But that would be an interesting matchup.
Speaking of the Jags, what are your
Well,
thoughts on
transition into the Jags.
what are your thoughts on Gardner Minshew?
Um, I think his stash is amazing. One, that he should keep it. I think that's just a part of his thing now, which I'm impressed because those things get really itchy. So I'm impressed that he's kept it up that long and being only like 23.
And that's
Two,
why he's nicknamed Stash Montana on my team.
there you go. There you go. I like him. I think he was underrated at Washington State. Now, granted, he had a good first week, and then this past weekend, he definitely came down a little bit. But
he did lead them on that drive toward in the fourth quarter to have a chance to tie it up, but then they decided to go for two instead, and they
right,
lost.
and they
But
lost.
he did lead them down that drive, and he looked pretty good doing it. So he's looking like a competent quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, looking at his stats right now, he went 23 of 33 for 213 and a touchdown, and he was leading rusher.
Which is not what I would expect from Gardner Minshew, but
Right.
you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, and it's Jacksonville, so he did have more yards than Leonard Fournette. So
Did you
that
hear the rumor that he stretches in only a jockstrap pregame?
who Fournette,
No, Minshew.
Minshew. Okay, yeah. I mean, here's the thing: if you have a
This guy
mustache,
is a national treasure.
yeah. I mean, is he a young Burt Reynolds? Is that what I'm hearing? Pretty much.
That's a pretty good comparison, actually.
I don't know. I'm thinking mustache wise and just like confidence. If he's doing that as a rookie on his own
I think the
desire.
best part. I think the best part of the whole Gardner Minshew story is that his name is Gardner Minshew the second, but his dad's name is not Gardner Minshew, and his grandfather's name is not Gardner Minshew. He's literally the first, but they named him Gardner Minshew the second. I mean, this guy is going to have his own 30 for 30 one day, just about him, just about his life.
I, so that means that they were thinking about naming him just so he could say he's the second to put on like the back of his jersey.
I guess. I don't know, but it's
I don't
awesome.
know.
He might be my new favorite player.
That's pretty fun. That is pretty fun. I hope he does well. I really did think about picking him up, but I wasn't sure.
I already did, so
I know you did. I saw.
best of luck trying to get. I'll trade him for you.
Oh, you'll trade him. Okay, that's very generous of you. Do you want like all my first round picks? Is that what you're trying to
I
ask
will
for?
take James Washington off your taxi squad.
Oh, thank you. Um, do you want to get in some favorite players from this past week?
I want to hit one more thing real quick before we do that.
Okay,
And
hit it.
I think it's the biggest story of the day is that Daniel Jones will be the starting quarterback for the New York Giants this week.
Right, of
They are
course.
officially benching Eli. It's about 3 years too late, but they're finally doing it. So I'm kind of excited. I have, like I mentioned before, I have a couple shares of Evan Ingram. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering what that's going to look like because usually when you have new quarterbacks, they love to check down to the running back and then look underneath at their tight ends and slot receivers.
Right.
So Saquon, we know, is just a monster. He's going to do his thing. And then Evan Ingram as the tight end, I'm wondering if he will keep that connection that Eli had with him and target him a bunch. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I mean that would where I would think he would go as a rookie quarterback would be Saquon and then the tight end, just because like those are like consistent passes that will be there. But that'll be pretty fun to see him get his first start because he played really well in the preseason, especially when the Giants got a lot of flack for taking him. But he's looked pretty good so far. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, it was probably time for Eli. I mean, I don't like to see that, but I don't know. You just got to do what you got to do. They're playing at the Buccaneers next week, so.
And the Bucks, their defense, as we saw on Thursday night, is not horrible. They like to blitz a lot, which is kind of a Todd Bowles signature.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but so it sounds like if Daniel can get just the ball out, if they just have a lot of quick passes, then they could be vulnerable for that too. So,
Right.
but yeah, that'll be an interesting matchup for sure. No, yeah, that's a big one. All right, let's get into some favorite players of the week. So, Will, who was your quarterback that you really liked this week and that you wanted to mention?
All right. My quarterback that I want to talk about this week is none other than Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
Dacaroni and cheese.
Dakota Prescott.
I like Dacaroni better. Mostly
Dacaroni.
because I actually had some macaroni and cheese for lunch today from Chick-fil-A. And
How is that?
that
Is it
stuff
good?
is like biting into a slice of heaven.
Mm.
It's like a perfect mixture between baked mac and cheese and crock pot mac and cheese.
Ooh.
It tastes homemade. I don't know how they do it. It's magical. Anyways, Dak went 26 for 30 for which 26 for 30. He had 4 incomplete passes the whole game. 26 for 30 for 269 and 3 touchdowns. He also had a pick. We'll let him slide on the pick.
Yeah.
And then he had 69 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. This Cowboys offense is clicking on on all cylinders. I about said cylinders. I don't know what a cylinder is, but all cylinders. They're rolling. They're churning it out. Kellen Moore, the youngest offensive coordinator in the league, he's got this offense looking right. Now they did lose Michael Gallup for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to have meniscus surgery, but Devin Smith, who was drafted in the second round like 4 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
terrible injury history. But yeah, he's gonna get a chance to play and be the next man up there. So I'm excited to see what Cowboys do next. But yeah, Dak balled out this week. He's like the number 3 quarterback in fantasy right now, behind Lamar and Pat Mahomes. So yeah, Dak's doing his thing right now.
He's doing his thing. I've been impressed with him for sure. So speaking of Mr. Mahomes, that's my quarterback of the week. I mean, really real shocker pick there that he's been one of our top quarterbacks so far. Currently leads the league in passing yards after 2 weeks. He went 30 of 44 for 443 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Solid
And
effort.
yeah, a solid effort. And that was all. The touchdowns were in the second quarter against the Raiders. And he did have a fumble to show that he is human and not just a robot. Um, but he has just been balling out the past, I mean, really his whole year and a half that he's really been on the scene. I've just been so impressed just with the touch he can put on the ball, just like with these deep balls, and even without like a Tyreek Hill in the lineup, who's been their big deep ball threat. This offense is still rolling strong, and then it seems like it's becoming more of a. I mean, obviously, not all these parts are perfectly interchangeable, but that it's built. This offense is built to last, and
Right.
once they have some key pieces in place, they can keep the ball rolling. So it'll be really interesting to see. So the big thing for them is can they keep the defense up? But anyway, Mahomes with the big week this week on the road too.
Right. And last week we had the rise of Sammy Watkins, and this week we saw the return of Sammy Watkins.
Yeah.
Granted, he did have 13 targets, which is a hefty share, but he only had 6 catches for 49 yards. But all the other pieces, so Demarcus Robinson, Mecole Hardman, Travis Kelce, of course, like those guys balled out and scored the touchdowns and got all the yards.
Mm-hmm.
So your boy Sammy, he came back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah,
But with that offense, I mean, there's no telling what's going to happen week in and week out.
yeah. There's too many Clemson players on the Raiders. I don't think he just didn't want to embarrass them too much. He
Gotcha.
wanted to even it out a little bit. Give them some love too.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All
They.
about that Clemson love. Oh, I got to throw some Gamecock love in. Debo scored his first touchdown this week for the Niners.
Oh.
And he's looking nice as their top wide receiver so far this year. He's looking like they're one.
Their workhorse and Pettis is kind of going down.
Yeah, Pettis is kind of on the Titanic right now. Yeah, is he? I think he's hurt, but I mean, he just not playing much, and Debo's using the opportunity. He's showing out.
Yeah.
All right. You ready to hit up the running backs?
Let's do it.
All right. My running back of the week. It's not a gaudy line like your guys is going to be. He had 17 carries for 66 yards and a touchdown, and then 6 catches for 67 yards. But it's Austin Eckler. So the
Yeah.
guy who's filling in for Melvin Gordon, he's doing a great job. He's a top 5 fantasy running back right now through the first 2 weeks. So he's an elite running back. He's doing a great job in this offense, which we knew he kind of would already. Last year he filled his job as the pass catching back, and this year he's doing it on the ground as well with Justin Jackson. Split some time with him, but Austin Eckler's looked good. Melvin Gordon, of course, he's great, but Austin Eckler hasn't looked bad. He's taking the opportunity and he's run with it, literally, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good pick, and I think it also shows that this offense is still can be good. But yeah, it's been fun to see him kind of taking over that role a bit while Gordon's been out, and who knows it really when he comes back. The rumor is that he is supposed to be coming back. We shall see.
That's
I
what
heard.
I heard too. About
Yeah,
around week 6 is kind of what I heard is the expected time frame.
yeah. Which we'll see. I don't know. I guess it's kind of it'll depend. It'll also probably depend on how their season's going too.
Right.
If they're kind of in a middle pack, but they could use a boost, then I could really see them moving that up. But if they're doing well without him, then I could see it really slowing down. Or if they go on like a 4-game losing streak and they're like 2-4 or something, something like that. I can also see them holding back from trying to get him back too. So it
Right.
feels like he's got to be in some kind of middle pack. But this week, my running back, not quarterback, my running back is Mr. Dalvin Cook of the Minnesota Vikings, who I have gotten to start on my team as well. He had a cool 20 carries for 154 yards and a touchdown. It wasn't a losing effort, but he really has been the workhorse in this offense, especially with Cousins playing okay. I know some people are frustrated with him, but in a rivalry game on the road, he really has been balling out and been a reliable guy. And I mean, the guy I remember in college, and it's just really translated over into the NFL, and he even had 37 yards receiving as well. So showing that he can be a dual threat. So I think he's just one of those guys who just continue to plug and play and just be a reliable part of the offense.
For sure. Are you familiar with one Lizzo?
No,
Lizzo, the rapper. You don't know Lizzo?
no, I don't know, Lizzo.
Anyways, I wonder if her new man is Dalvin Cook because he is looking like a new man on the Minnesota Vikings this season. That's my rap reference of the day. You said Minnesota Vikings, and that's the first thing that came to mind, so I had to go with it. I apologize to everyone listening.
Brought to you,
Please,
Lizzo.
please
Brought to
don't,
you
please
by.
don't. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, brought to you by Chick-fil-A's Mac and Cheese, hopeful future sponsor of the Backyard Catch podcast.
And Lizzo. If you want to send us some tracks, Lizzo, we need an intro and an outro. So if you got some stuff for us that's clean, we'll be glad to listen and maybe put it on the podcast.
There you go.
Please don't stop listening. All right. Let's move on to receivers. So my receiver is the number one receiver in terms of yardage in the NFL right now. When I say this name, you know who it is because we talked about it. When I say this name, the casual NFL fan may laugh and spit up their coffee or water or whatever you're drinking. Because the number one receiver and my receiver of the week is John Ross. Now, this guy was a combine all-star a couple years ago. Super fast, blew it up. So the Bengals drafted him early in the first round. And up until this point, he has been a total bust. Like complete and utter failure in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
This year through 2 games, he's leading the NFL with 270 receiving yards. This week he had 4 catches for 112 and a touchdown. And he was known and drafted to be a big play guy. And that's what he's doing with 4 catches for over 100 yards. I mean, that's well over, that's like pushing 29, 30 yards a catch. So he's putting some air in the ball. And he's the number one receiver in football right now, which is absurd to say. But Zach Taylor's offense has really been a turnaround for him, which has me kind of excited about for AJ Green to come back, because I don't know if John Ross. I mean, obviously he's not going to be the number one receiver, but whenever AJ comes back, I think Ross is going to slide down a little bit, and AJ's going to get a lot of this look that Ross is getting now.
Yeah,
AJ's a better receiver than Ross if he can stay healthy. So, but yeah, John Ross is my receiver of the week. File that's in category of things I never thought I'd say 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, there you go. And then Andy Dalton, after that, is second in the NFL in passing yards right now. So not two guys you're expecting on the leaderboard as of right now. It is week 2, so but still, that is pretty fun. I've got a Mr. Demarcus Robinson is my wide receiver. He also plays for the Chiefs. He kind of came out of nowhere. He just had a game of 6 receptions for 172 yards and 2 touchdowns. He went 6 for 6 on targets, so he means he caught everything. He averaged 28.2 yards per catch. That's pretty crazy that he just kind of came out of nowhere. Also is in the running for best hair in the NFL. You've also got to put up Ray McLeod in there as well. And now, if he can hold to the ball, that'd be great as well. But
I would like to enter in Robbie Anderson into that discussion.
Robbie Anderson? Okay. We will be taking...
He looks like a Cynthia Doll from the Rugrats. And it's amazing.
That's pretty good. Maybe go Will Fuller as well. Will Fuller the 4th.
He's got some luscious locks. If we're going facial hair, I'm going to re-enter Gardner Minshew the 2nd.
Okay. Not to be confused. Don't confuse the people of Gardner Minshew the 1st. This is Gardner Minshew.
Also, Gardner Minshew the 2nd.
Gardner Minshew the 2nd. So question: if he names his son Gardner Minshew the 2nd as well, does that mean he's Gardner Minshew the 2nd Junior? Or is it Gardner Minshew the 2nd, 3rd? How would that work?
Honestly, I do not know. I hope it happens. You just got to do him Gardner Minshew the 5th at that point. Just add him.
Just add him.
The 3rd. Just add him. He's the 5th.
Yeah. All right, Gardner. You just need to make this happen, okay? This is just. You don't have a choice.
I think his mustache is the 3rd. So logically, I guess he'd have to be the 4th.
Okay. His own persona. I like it. So DeMarcus balled out this week. Hopefully he can keep doing it again. He's in a great offense with an opportunity to keep getting the ball as well. I mean, because Mahomes, they're going to let it go with Mahomes with his 443 yards. So there you go. DeMarcus Robinson, wide receiver of the week.
Nice. All right. Moving on to tight end. I'm going to go with a man who has the best first name in the NFL. It's Will Dissly, tight end for the Seattle Seahawks. He had 5 catches for 50 yards, which you're like, okay, I mean, that's not great. 2 touchdowns. So, big threat in the red zone this past week for Russell Wilson, who is a fantastic passer, super accurate, get the ball there perfectly. So, Will Dissly is my tight end of the week.
I like it. And my tight end, I went with good old Greg Olsen, old man Greg. Now, he had 6 receptions for 110 yards, no touchdowns. But I love how he secretly had this really good game. And I know the game against Tampa Bay kind of left a bad taste in Panthers fans' mouths. and especially with Cam Newton being hurt, we're still struggling with some foot and shoulder stuff. But he's just Mr. Consistent. When he is on the field and healthy, he's had some injury problems the past couple of years, but Greg Olson's been really strong. You can like kind of pencil him in for 4 to 6 catches and then like 80 to 100 yards pretty much every week and be
Yeah,
a
he
reliable
always
target. And you know it's coming and you just can't stop it.
right. It seems like there's always a couple plays a week where he's just wide open in the middle of the field, and
Yeah.
you're like, is anybody guarding this guy? I mean, it happens every week, but yeah, it always seems to happen. The best part with these two tight ends with Olsen and Disley is that they're available in most fantasy leagues. So if you're in a fantasy league and you drafted OJ Howard super early and he threw up a goose egg for you this week, here's two options that are probably available. So go check them out and see if you can start them.
There you go.
Not everyone drafted Evan Ingram and Mark Andrews like I did.
Mm, yeah.
Oh, there was my
Not
humble
everyone can
brag
be
for the
you, Will.
night.
Huh?
there was my humble brag for the
Whole
night.
brag of the night. Yeah. There
Feels
you
good.
go. It's
Also,
fine.
I didn't mention Andrews or my boy Lamar in this section like I did last week. But Lamar became the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 240 or 250 yards and rush for 120 in the same game, which you
Yeah.
think like, okay, Cam, peak Mike Vick, like there's some guys that you would think have a great chance of doing that, but no one's ever done it until Lamar.
Yeah.
And then, which kind of leads into our next conversation to finish it up of what are you looking forward to this coming weekend? And it's got to be the Ravens versus the Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean that's gonna be a big game. Just to see those two high-powered offenses going together. Right now, the Chiefs are a 6.5 point favorite against the Ravens, but I mean that might be like 40-34 type of a game.
Right. What really stinks is that um, they play each other in the 1 o'clock window. Because
Right.
this should be like a Sunday night or a Monday night type of game. It should be a nationally televised showdown that we all want to see. But it's going to be a regional game at 1 o'clock, which kind of stinks. I wish they did the flex scheduling throughout the season and not just like the last 4 or 5 weeks, because this one, I'm definitely looking forward to this one over the Rams versus the Browns, which they have for Sunday night right now, which is not a bad matchup, but it's not Lamar versus Mahomes.
No, yeah, and it's hard to predict what Lamar's been doing these first couple weeks too. Coming into the season, but yeah, that's a good one.
I also
Uh,
think that we should start a petition for Monday Night Football to be able to flex out because right now, like this week, is the Bears and the Redskins. Not horrible, but I mean, there's so many more better games that they could have on Monday night. Give them like a 2 week notice. It'd be awesome.
yeah, I agree. I agree, especially when you have these marquee games, and then you're like Thursday night Titans Jaguars, and
Sexy.
it's just yeah, it's just isn't this the game where they started the color rush uniforms?
Well, they're not doing color rush anymore,
No, they're not, but
but
I think this is the game, right? That
they
they
could potentially do them. Yeah, they just spread them throughout the year, and teams wear them pretty much whenever they want to.
they
But
wear.
yeah, this this a couple of years ago, this was the honey mustard versus the baby blue.
Right, right.
Yeah, the Jags honey mustard was awful.
It was something that was for sure. Uh, a game not score wise, but I mean once again. So you know how you mentioned that your Dasseroni Prescott had a really good game. Guess who he's playing this week?
He is playing the beauty of the Miami Dolphins.
And guess who also just traded maybe one of their best safeties as well?
I'm
The Miami
guessing you're going to say the Miami Dolphins.
Right. So if you have a cowboy in anywhere in your roster or is even sniffing your roster, you add him and you start them.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
I have a friend who may have Tony Pollard on the bench. Should
Mm.
my friend play Tony Pollard?
Who Tony Pollard
Back up to Zeke.
back up to Zeke. What's your friend's flex position looking like right now?
My friend isn't going to play Tony Pollard because they have Curtis Samuel and Debo Samuel and Cooper Kupp to fill that position. But maybe someone out there who's battling some injuries just might need some help.
Yeah.
But a legit question, would you play Tony Pollard this week? Knowing that the Cowboys are going to win, it's going to be a hefty score, and Pollard's probably going to get some work because they don't want to hurt Zeke.
Yeah.
So would you, if you're in desperate need, would you think about playing Pollard as your flex this week?
I would strongly consider that, just because I would say most weeks no. I mean, just because he is the clear backup. And Zeke is back and playing like normal. But because it is the Dolphins, and you would imagine this game is probably in control early second half, that Pollard's going to get a lot of looks, especially as they're trying to just wind the clock out second half. So I would really consider it. But yeah, if you have some other clear starters and you're not worrying about depth right now, then I would say keep as is. But I would really look at starting him.
Nice.
Yeah. So there's some good ones this week. Anything else you're looking forward to this week?
We had kind of trashed the Tennessee versus Jacksonville matchup on Thursday, but we do get to see some Gardner Minshew in just a couple of days, so I am excited about that. If you couldn't tell, this podcast is sponsored by Gardner Minshew.
Yes.
This week at least. So thanks, Gardner, for giving us content.
There you go. Thanks, Gardner. Just keep doing you. Keep doing you, please. But Browns and Rams, I know we mentioned it earlier. That will be it's an interesting matchup to see if the Browns can actually formulate an offense, and can the Rams continue up there, pick up from last year.
Right. Because the Browns are going to have to do better than they have the past 2 weeks. Last night they moved the ball a little bit. It was basically Odell Beckham, doing his thing. Nick Chubb looked decent. They need to give him some space to work in. But yeah, they're going to have to step it up a notch to be able to play with the Rams.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So, a lot of fun stuff to look forward to. And so, hopefully, we'll be back next week and you get to talk about your boy John Ross still leading the league in receiving yards. So, we'll see.
They have Buffalo this week, so he's going to see some top corners. So, I don't know if he'll be the top guy next week or not, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, guys, thanks again for tuning in. Remember, you can like and share this podcast. Subscribe to us. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, pretty much anywhere you can get podcasts. If we're not on something that you really do like to listen to, please let us know as well. We are always trying to improve and grow. As well, we're on Instagram, Twitter. You can follow us, Backyard Catch. Will, thanks so much for being on. This is always a lot of fun to get to talk NFL with you every week.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to the games.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, guys, thanks so much. But for now, we're signing off.